Why do you feel, what makes you an artist? Why are you pursuing? What is your first intention of being an artist? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's your one, we call that North Star or the reason of who we are?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a compulsion at this point. It's like a drive to, document my experience of the world, and also like share a narrative, share my vantage point with other people. So it's a lot about a desire to be a storyteller.
I agree on the idea of it being a compulsion. I think I've found that even when I'm working in, other jobs, all I want to do is sort of come back to something creative. I have a hard time sitting still and not.
Yeah, for me, it's a childhood hobby, really. I've always been an artist since I was like a kid. I've always liked to paint. And after I came to Tennessee, I didn't have a job right here. So I said, let me just start off painting as a hobby. And it slowly turned into a profession. And one thing I really love is the nature of it.
I have always painted too, and it's something I think just genetically am predist pre. Wow, it's early. I can't say that word right now.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Arts to Hearts podcast. This is Charuka, and I'm very, very excited for the last episode of our series from the Floral Art Book that we've recently published, and you can still get your hands on. I have four, not one, not two, but four amazing artists from our 101 Floral Art Book. And like you know by now, we're here to introduce them to you, their work, who they are, what they do, and in that process, if you still haven't grabbed your copy, I remind you to please take your copy from our website, Amazon, and other places. Everything mentioned in the show notes of this episode. And now I am very excited to welcome our guest for today. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay, I have Mary, Claire, Ritina, and Rebecca, all of those four artists who've been a part of our book, and I'm very excited to have four of you. How about we start with a little intro of who you are, where you're joining from, and then we'll grab from there. Who's going first? Mary, you can go. I can see you on the top.
Oh, hi, I'm Mary. I'm joining from Brooklyn, and yeah, I'm a painter. I primarily work in water-based mediums like acrylics and gouache and watercolor, and I've used a lot of neon pigments in my work.
Wonderful. What about you, Claire?
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I'm a painter, and I work in oil for the most part.
Wonderful. What about you, Ritina?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ritina. I'm from originally from India, but I'm staying in Tennessee. So I mainly work in acrylics and oils. So it's more of acrylics, less of oils, and I'm more of a landscape artist.
Okay, wonderful. How about you, Rebecca?
I'm Rebecca Steen, and I'm just north of Claire. I'm up in the Seattle, Washington area. Yeah, so I'm a watercolor artist and kind of have more of a.
I love the background.
Oh, thank you, IKEA. It's it's been in our house for like 12 years. I love this thing. It's come in handy, and it kind of ties into my art. I used to live at the beach, and I kind of bring back to a lot of the like tropical flower
Makes sense. I can connect the dots.
stuff. Yeah. So nice to meet you all.
Same here. Okay, guys, tell me something. Can somebody tell me? Anybody can start. Why do you feel? What makes you an artist? Why are you pursuing? What is your first intention of being an artist? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's your one? We call that North Star or the reason of who we are. Can anybody start? And I just want to know why you're doing what you're doing. What really calls you to be an artist? Because we all know it's not. It's terribly hard. A lot of times, we think about what being an artist means versus when you actually walk down that path, it completely looks differently every day. There's so many highs and lows. In spite of that, you all are here. Uh, Mary, do you want to talk about it? What's your number one reason of doing what you're doing?
Um, oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a compulsion at this point. It's like a drive to, document my experience of the world, and also like share a narrative, share my vantage point with other people. So it's a lot about a desire to be a storyteller.
What about you, Claire?
I agree on the idea of it being a compulsion. I think I've found that even when I'm working in, other jobs, all I want to do is sort of come back to something creative. I have a hard time sitting still and not making something, and I feel so frequently inspired by the world around me. My work is all based on nature, and so it's very hard for me not to see something and immediately want to go make a painting of it.
I like that. What about you, Ritina?
Yeah, for me, it's a childhood hobby, really. I've always been an artist since I was like a kid. I've always liked to paint. And after I came to Tennessee, I didn't have a job right here. So I said, let me just start off painting as a hobby. And it slowly turned into a profession. And one thing I really love is the nature over here. It's really beautiful. So anything aesthetically beautiful really inspires me to paint it. I just need to get it down on canvas.
Beauty always calls.
Exactly, yes.
What about you, Rebecca? I get that very surfer. I feel like you're this beachy person. I can't connect the dots with your work right now, but I'm looking forward to it.
I have always painted too, and it's something I think just genetically am pre. Wow, it's early. I can't say that word right now. But I just love to do, and I feel weird when I'm not creating or painting, and I think it's a way to tell a story and a way to like Mary said, and it's really a fun way to connect with people too. Um, and it's fun to be able to create something beautiful from your perspective and put it out into the world. And
Okay. Okay, tell me something. Do you have a story where you felt like, okay, any moment in life where you felt like, okay, I want to be an artist? Like, this is what I'm going to do. I know.
it was after I had my son.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, it kind of propelled because I used to just be kind of a little bit like I'm go 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 all up, all la 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 la. I have to go this, have to do this, and then it just grounded me and forced me to just really focus on um, my art. And it was interesting. Having becoming a mom just kind of was a big shift for me.
Okay. Does anybody else resonate with this idea? Any more mothers out of you?
Yes, me. I'm a mother. I have a 25-year-old son. Yes, and yes, and he's also into designing. So he's an automotive designer, and so maybe it was art was always there with me, and I was always stuck up, like kind of. I never put him for tuition classes or anything of that sort, so I was stuck up teaching him and like taking care of him and all that stuff. Once he went to college, I had all the time in the world, so that's when I started to like pursue it more as a career, like I'd say.
Did you think it to for it to be a career at that?
No, no, I didn't. But the thing was, when I came here to the United States of America, as I said, 2018 January. Yeah. So when I came, Tennessee is extremely beautiful. It's more of a rural area, so it's really beautiful. So I'm just looking at the beauty. I just needed to have that down on canvas, and then people started enjoying my artworks, and they slowly started buying them from me. That's when I said, okay, let's convert this into a profession.
Oh, wow. Anybody else's? Who's Mary? Do you have a story to share?
Yeah, I guess I also have a young child. He's going to be 3 coming up. So I think that it changed the way that I paint in a lot of ways. I sort of have processes I can use to like make little changes in the studio when I have time and incrementally grow the practice. And also, I've changed the vantage point of my paintings to specifically be like my vantage point of being an artist mother. So, like the last couple years, a lot of my still lives are now kind of like putting the viewer in like my position where you're looking at like toys on the floor, or you're looking at my apartment and like the chaos and the things that are going on in my daily life. And I'm trying to be more vulnerable and like share those moments with the viewer. I think it made me feel, as a mother, feel like I need my art is also a part of my identity and my personal self as an artist and a person aside from being a mother. So it's really important for me to have that voice, even if it is reflecting my identity as a mother as well.
Claire, what about you?
Yeah, I have two young kids, and I think it. Yeah, I've got a. I found that it's focused my studio work yeah, pretty clearly in terms of when do I go work. That time is very precious. Uh, now they're in like preschool and elementary school, and so I'm able to have a bit more time during the day. But I think it has changed both my focus in terms of my practice, but it has also changed my focus and my perspective in terms of the work that I've been making. My work used to be much broader landscape, and I've gotten so like specific about flowers and plants and nature, and thinking about looking at things from the perspective of a child, like how your whole world can become sort of just like one object, one plant, and also looking at it in terms of like a detail is maybe all I can muster right now because I don't have time to spend months working on a really large piece.
Yeah, very interesting. I think I love the idea when like you said, you're looking at um, flowers as symbolism for children. My question towards this is also to all of you, like, what are your thoughts on, a lot of time artists feel stuck. A, have you felt that way? B, how did you resume that or solve that? When it comes to finding, their style, their creative voice, their subject matter, can we talk a little bit about how you have evolved in your own journeys, on what kind of subject matters you've been working on to what you're doing now, and how do you find your style?
I can talk more about that since I was sort of just talking about the shift in my work after parenthood. My in terms of like my style, I'm very interested in how the paint moves on the canvas, and just sort of interested in the materiality of the paint. And I find that I'm a very responsive painter, so I sort of dive right in, and then I adjust the colors, I adjust the composition, sort of based on what's already on the canvas speaking to me. Um, but like I was saying, I used to have these sort of very pulled back landscapes, painting a lot of like large gardens and stuff, and uh, have over time gotten much more interested in individual plants, and sort of the worlds and compositions that can exist sort of much more close up, that can be sort of overwhelming in a different way from looking at a large space all at once.
Wonderful. No. Regina, do you want to go next?
Okay. So for me, it's always been landscapes. It's one thing I really love doing. So I started off on paper. I'd say it's called cartridge.
Before coming to Tennessee as well?
Yeah, I used to, but that was kind of just normal kind of painting with watercolors, which I really didn't do too well, as I felt that way. And slowly, when I came here, I started off painting on cartridge paper, and then I realized that it soaks in the color, and the paper gets kind of all like wonky kind of. So I didn't want that to happen. So I started 2019. I started painting on canvas. My first canvas was a very small one, 12 by 16, I guess. And I painted a barn. One of my friends just loved it, and that was the first painting that I sold to a friend of mine. Yeah, and it was really kind of what would I say? It kind of opened out things for me that yes, I can go into all this and make it happen. And so slowly, and then for me, the main thing was painting on larger pieces. So the largest I painted is a 36 by 24, and that was again a landscape. And for me, another thing I'd say was I prefer to be versatile. So like it's not only landscapes. I would paint whatever looks aesthetically beautiful for me. So I've transitioned that way slowly from. And if you see my paintings, yeah, if you see my paintings around 2019 or so, and you see them now, there is a lot of difference. I'm totally self-taught, So I used to watch videos. I always wanted to join some art school, but I didn't get to do that. So I just, yes. So, and for me, photorealism is one thing which I like. I try to make it as like copy the photo kind of, and it should look really like you could step into it or something like that. So I know I still need to improve on that, but yes, I'm getting there, and I will be there.
What about you, Mary?
I think that for me, I have a very like observational approach to painting, and I like looking at the world around me. I like looking at. I studied portraiture and I studied still life, and for me, it's like breaking my own rules, and I think that helps me get unstuck. So I'm trying to incorporate more natural elements or more flowers as kind of breaking through the still life, or breaking having a relationship with the objects, nature kind of coming into the paintings, or color playing a really big role in the paintings as well. Not being afraid to use like really vibrant colors that might be disjointed, or incorporate neon colors in the work. So part of it is like kind of just being able to let loose within that very analytical mindset, and also challenge yourself, and push yourself a little farther than you're comfortable. I think that really helps me.
No, I think it's amazing to hear how each one of us are, even while we are attracted to very similar things, how we translate them, how we look at them differently. Like, for someone, it's an expression of their surroundings, for someone, it's an expression of what's happening in their life. I love Claire's idea of looking at them, and looking at flowers as children. Now, I'm going to pull out the specific works that we have of yours in the book. And I'd love to hear the stories and, your thoughts, and why did you make it, and anything else that you want to share with us. I will start with, I think I have Claire's first on my screen, and it's called Midsummer Seed Heads. It's an oil on linen, 14 by 15, and I can see these lots of greens, a blue sky, the wall, and the flowers. Claire, do you want to talk about this artwork, and what it means and what it was in your mind?
Sure. It's from a series of paintings that's sort of still ongoing for me about the concept of plant blindness, which is something that I had heard about like a year ago, I think. And it's the idea, it's sort of like a twofold idea. One is that we so often are surrounded by nature in our daily lives, particularly those of us who live in cities, that we just are completely unaware of. You don't really notice the trees that are planted on the street. You don't really notice like the greenery that's growing in between sidewalk cracks, because it's just not really interesting to us. And then the other is that we just don't really know what most plants are, even. And so, one thing that I had been thinking a lot about last summer was how we recognize plants and flowers when they're in their most iconic phases. We look when you see a rose that's blooming, you know it's a rose, but when you see it in the wintertime, you maybe do not recognize exactly what plant that is. And so this is uh, the painting is it's allium, and there's some like delphinium and larkspur plants that like people might generally recognize even if they don't know the name, and when it's blooming. But this is at the end of the summer when they're actually in kind of the most important part of their phase, which is the seed heads are all completely full and bursting, and they're about to plant the seeds for the next season so that the plant can continue onwards. But to us, they're sort of unusual and alien looking, and you can't really connect that beautiful flower from the springtime to this sort of strange thing in your garden at the end of the season.
Wonderful. What about you, Retina? I will pick up yours next, and let me hear what you have to say. Okay, I have your work. One sec. I missed you. Okay. No, I have Mary, we have you. I have you next on my screen. Mary, your work is this fluorescent yellow. I know all of you can't see each other's work, but once we are over this call, I'm sure we can Google each other. Oh, we can also check our drives. You can check our drives. What's interesting, it's called a soup can for a brick, a flower for a movement. There are these flowers, and behind these flowers, these are little cans peeping from behind. and it's a very bright. And for some reason, I do also feel there is a candy, but it's also a part of the flower or something like that. I can have my ways of interpreting it. And I love how you've titled it, but can you talk a little bit more about it?
Yeah, this is kind of part of my series I started in 2020, called my Flower Power series, and it was kind of birthed from being isolated in my studio, during lockdown, and wanting to sort of create some sort of resistance, like from myself within my studio, and also create this vibrancy. So there was multiple paintings, large paintings, small paintings, all with these very vibrant neon color palettes using floral motifs that I got from design patterns, some of them from, observations of flowers in real life, and just bringing that nature and that power of nature into my studio was really transformative. Also, seeing the flower as like a symbol of like feminine resistance. So, like with the flower power movement of the '70s, and how do we resist peacefully, and how do we use flowers as like a symbol of power, right? And then the soup cans for me is the title sort of derived from one of the many silly comments that Trump made at the time about protesters, using soup cans instead of bricks. And it just, at this point, it doesn't really like matter anymore the origin of it, because there's been many silly comments since then that have surpassed that. But I just remember thinking about like, okay, like if a soup can is if food is now like a weapon, right? And could a flower start a movement? Could a flower spark imagination in a lot of people? So that's what I was thinking about while I created the piece. And I also think it kind of, from an art historical standpoint, like having the soup can is like a very nod to sort of pop art. And it was kind of also like a fun way to incorporate the everyday object that yeah, it's like a fun way to incorporate the everyday objects that I had been in my paintings, but in a more abstract, more playful way as well.
So it's also very vibrant, and it feels like it's calling to you. Like the moment you look at it, I think it really speaks that 70s vibe. Ritina, your work is called Kimono Girl. It's this purplish, beautiful girl looking, backwards at you. What what attracted to you that?
I'd say first of all, purple is one of my favorite colors. Blue is my original favorite color, but purple is one I like too a lot. So that's one reason what attracted to me. And as I grew up, I had an uncle who used to stay abroad, so he had bought me a Camino once, and I just saw the design on it, the way the design moves and everything. So I wanted to create the same kind of pattern on this woman's dress. So it should be. I wanted it to be more floral, because usually the Caminos have those curly designs which just kind of twist away and all. So for me, this was like more. I wanted to create it in a floral way. So I that's what attracted me towards this painting, and I wanted some of the flowers to be coming out of the dress too. So to give that kind of feminine feel to it.
Yeah. It did feel like, um, there's this cherry blossom season in Japan, and I when I saw this, I felt like it had something to do with cherry blossom or something.
It did, yeah, because that's one thing which has always been there. Like cherry blossoms are really beautiful, and mainly I wanted to show that feminism with all those flowers and everything coming out of the dress.
Yeah, my laptop just decided to totally shut down on it. Perfect timing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Rebecca, do I have you? Because we missed you in between the conversation. No problem. Perfect. So now I have your artwork.
So it's a little delayed and pixelated on my end, but hopefully you can hear me and see me okay.
Okay. Your artwork is called Neon Spring. It's a beautiful, there's lots of flowers and greens and oranges and yellows and blue flowers, and it literally feels like a spring. It's a watercolor on paper. Do you want to talk about this work?
Yeah, so my big watercolors it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. They take a really long time to compose, and I spring right here when everything is in bloom. It's it's so bright and there's so many different colors, and I try to kind of just create a big surface of some of my favorite ones in a composition. And I had honestly just purchased some really cool neon watercolors from Japan that are awesome, and was experimenting with those. So I had to throw the neon in there.
Look, two artists coming from inspiring from Japan.
So it was pretty fun. But that's kind of it. Just bringing up my favorite spring flowers and composing them in a way that just made them feel alive, like I do when I walk around.
It absolutely feels that way. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your inspiration, your stories, and your art with all of us. And one last question: where can people find you and support you, and how can they connect with you further if they like the if they're interested? Who wants to go first? You can mention your Instagram, website, whatever.
I can go first. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Younkin Studio. And then if you're in the Brooklyn area, you can come visit my studio at Greenpoint Open Studios this June, the first weekend of June. So I welcome you to come say hi. And I'm also, yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Regina. You can say.
Yeah, so for me, I have my website. It's retinaandsurkarfinearts.com. So you can find me there, find my works over there. On Instagram, it's Retina Fine Arts. And on Facebook, again, it's Retina Fine Arts. So you can find my artworks there. If you're interested in buying, my website, Retina and Surkar Fine Arts, is available where you can buy art.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, Claire, how can we find and connect with you?
You can find me on Instagram as well. I'm at Claire Elliott Art, and my website is also just claireelliott.com. And then I do tend to have work available for sale on the design website, sereneandlily.com, in their art collection as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Here you go, Rebecca.
All right, and Goldfish Kiss. Just remember that name. There's a story behind it, but that's my website, goldfishkiss.com. But then my art shop is goldfishkissgoods.com. So probably should have led with that one. And then on all social, it's Goldfish Kiss.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody, and everybody who's watching. You can buy and support their work and everything we've put together in the 101 Floral Book. You can find the link in the details. And small support also goes a long way. You can share this episode, like their works, follow them, and just support each other. I think that also really, truly helps artists grow their careers and truly feel grateful for what we're doing here. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope to see you soon again. Okay, one last question I had forgotten to answer. A question, sorry. One last question. I just wanted also just as a general feedback, and how was your experience being a part of the book? I'm still recording, so I thought I'll just ask. Um, how was your experience being a part of the book? If you have any feedbacks on how we can improve, or just your general experience, also we can use later for sharing. Please let us know. I'd love to hear, and how we can also improve for sure.
Okay, for me, it was a wonderful experience. Yes, it was. And mainly, I'd say is every time you get an email immediately saying that this is where we stand, that is one thing which I really liked because it's not that you're like you've submitted your art and you don't know what's going on, kind of. So I think every week or something, or every twice a week or something, we were getting emails saying that this is where we are, this is how much is completed, this is like the kind of changes you need to do. So in short, I'd say that we were getting a lot of feedback from you. That was really, really good.
Oh, thank you so much. We thought we had overwhelmed you in that process. Perfect. Thank you so much. Mary, do you have a feedback for us? How was your experience being as a publishing process and being a part of the book and, being a published artist?
Yeah, no, I think it was a great experience. I agree with what Ritina said about the communication was really clear. The expectations were really clear. So I really appreciate that because we have to juggle so many different things in our business and lives that it's nice when you have that clear communication. And I can't wait to see the book.
I can't wait. I've been showing the copy to everybody, but yesterday I had to send a copy, for a final check. Otherwise, I was showing the zigzag to everybody, and everybody was so excited. I wish I could have done that here as well, but it's going to ship out hopefully in the next few days, in 1 week. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. How about you, Claire? Do you want to share your experience?
Yeah, I agree with everyone else. It's been a good experience, and I have really appreciated the transparency and communication. Not every project is like that, so it has been nice to see proofs along the way over and over. It's really helpful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the book and seeing, you know, discovering more artists sort of working in the sort of floral realm.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Uh, thank you so much, guys.